Okay folks, bread lesson today. To start with, we need 1 cup of warm water, so that's half hot and half cold, into a bowl with about 10 grams of yeast. Yeast and warm water, dissolve the yeast in the warm water. And add a little bit of sugar. The sugar feeds the yeast and helps it to start getting going, helps it to start working. So dissolve the yeast so there's no lumps. Looks like a cold cup of tea. Into that you add a cup of strong white flour. If you've not got strong flour, you can use plain flour, but it doesn't work quite as well. So this is making a batter. And this way it proves a lot quicker and the yeast starts to work because it's not got much to work against. So in there we've got yeast. It's going to feed on the sugar, get it to start working, and then it will feed on the strong flour and the starch in the flour. The water is warm, so we're giving the yeast some warmth and some water or some moisture to help it to grow. Once yeast grows, it divides into two, and every time that happens, it produces a gas called carbon dioxide. This is what gives it the bubbles. So most of the lumps have gone. Now I need to give that time. So the yeast has got everything that you and I need to grow. Warmth, moisture, time and food. So put it somewhere warm. So I've opened the oven door. I'm going to put it on the grill above so the heat rises and keeps it warm. Don't put it in the oven. It's too hot. In your second bowl you want 2 cups of flour. Now you can use wholemeal or you can use white. Doesn't really matter. It's best if it's strong. It's got more gluten in it, so it'll give you a better crust on your bread. Two cups of flour. A large knob of butter, and some salt. We couldn't put the salt, which is about half a teaspoon, we couldn't put that in the other mixture because it would kill the yeast. So all we need to do now is rub that in till it disappears. We're putting the margarine in there to give it some elasticity when we start to knead. It also helps retain the moisture in the bread itself so it doesn't go stale so quick. Okay. Once the batter has started to produce the carbon dioxide bubbles, you can see them on the top, and it's gone really nice and frothy, we need to put the dry ingredients, the flour, salt and margarine that you've rubbed together into it and stir it together. This should form a really damp dough. When you've stirred and you can't stir anymore because it's not going to go together, take your fork out, get your hand in. It should be quite warm. Should be able to now make this into a ball of soft dough. So most of the flour bits you should be able to wipe from around the edges of the bowl and be left with a lump of dough that you can knead. If there's any bits round the bowl, and then put your bowls to soak, it's easy to wash up after. Right, so we need to knead this dough so it's pulling and stretching. Now this is quite damp, but what it means because it's quite damp is that it stretches really easily and will give you a nice elastic dough. So what we've got to do is get this smooth. So using the heel of your hand, pull and stretch this dough so it's nice and smooth, so the gluten that's in there starts to work. Okay, once you've got a nice smooth dough that's really elastic and stretchy, you need to divide it up. So, small pieces, about the size of a small, just smaller than a tennis ball. Okay, makes a really good bread cake or bread shape. So all bread rolls, or the best successful ones, are made from two shapes. They're made either from a sausage shape, and from that shape you can make a plait, a braid, a knot. You can just twirl it round and do a snail. You can do a shape, but the best shapes are the ones that are made from this or a round, because the bread is going to rise out of shape and it's going to rise not at a acute angle. So I'm just going to knot that piece of bread and carry on taking the edges round till it joins up, and I've got a twist. If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter, because you can roll it back into one, so you can have lots of trials trying out which shape is best for you. So my favourite shape is that and that. It's a bit like a swan. The other shape you can make things from is a circle. So just pull the edges over the middle to make a nice round shape, and if you turn it over then it's smooth on the top and all the cracks are underneath. It's one way of making a circle. The other way is just to roll it in your hand and cup your hand and you get a circle. Flatten it down because it's going to rise up and double in size. Now from that you can make a shape. You can pull a nose, and the only angles that actually work are when you cut into it make yourself a hedgehog. Nice shape to do is to do a braid where you've got 3 strands. What you can do is put flavourings in each strand. So, okay, so I'm going to flavour each of the strands with something different. So I've got some dried herbs in one. I'm going to put a little bit of cheese into another one. So just squash it round, roll the braid in it. I'll leave one plain. So then plait them together just like you would hair. Leave some gaps between, don't do it really tight. Give the bread some place to rise up. And then you've got a multicoloured one. Okay. Cheese for a pizza is mozzarella, and it's always stored in water, so the easiest way to deal with it is just cut the corner off and then drain it in the sink. Mozzarella isn't easy to grate. Make sure you use the big holes and put it into the palm of your hand and pull it down. Now I could, if I wanted to, flavour the actual base of the pizza. So I'm making pizza, but I could flavour this with some cheese, some dried herbs if I wanted to. And on this occasion I'm not going to bother, and I'm going to roll it as thin as I can get it because I know that it's going to rise up. So rolling it really thin. Now I could do a stuffed crust with this as well. So you could put some cheese into the crust. So I've got a nice thin pizza. Get some cheese and just put it around the edge and tuck it over. Now you don't have to do all the pizza. You could just do half of it like that. You can just do a section of it like that. It doesn't really matter. So we've got the base that's bread. The base can have in it any other flavourings you want. I've stuffed the crust on part of it, and then it's the moisture layer. Now I've got passata. Passata's great because it's just sieved tomatoes. So passata creates a moisture layer. Now you can use any sort of tomato sauce. You could use ketchup, you could use puree, you can use blitzed or sieved tins of tomatoes, you can use fresh tomatoes, you can use barbecue sauce, you can use garlic sauce. Anything you want, anything you can get your hands on, and anything that you would like. Then you're going to put your toppings on it. I prefer to put only a little bit of cheese on the bottom and put most of the cheese that I'm going to put on my pizza on the top. So I like pepperoni, so that's going to go on. I like plenty of mushrooms because they go to nothing once they've gone in the oven. Pepper on the top. And then some more cheese. Any cheese you want. A classic pizza, remember, is only cheese and tomato. That's all you really need. But just put anything else on that you want. Different cheeses make fine pizza too.